Hey everybody, what's going on? Wanted to jump on here and do another video of stories or good times that I had when I was working behind the walls for the Oregon Department of Corrections. So on today's episode, I'm going to be telling a story of what happens when you mix two guys who are super bored and you're stuck in a Prius. What kind of trouble can you get into and make? But before I get to that, for those of you who don't know, this is my fourth video in the series I'm doing for Correctional Employees Week. It is National Correctional Employees Week. It's the week that we celebrate and we honor those who are working in our prison systems and our institutions, keeping us safe every single day. We honor their sacrifices they make because they have to show up and work 24/7, 365. Rain, shine, sleet, hail, storm, doesn't matter. Even on the sunny days like it is today, it's beautiful outside, they still have to show up to work, do their job. So we honor you, we thank you guys for what you do every single day. And without further ado, I'll get on to my two dudes in a Prius story. So before I worked at the pen, I worked at TRCI. Now, TRCI is in the middle of nowhere. It's like high desert, I'm pretty sure. It's in cowboy country. There are like cows and horses everywhere. It's very like Western oriented. And that's all fine and dandy. But it's in the middle of nowhere, man. Like literally sagebrush blows across the streets in Hermiston, Oregon, where Two Rivers is at. So it literally will, sagebrush blows down the street, and it's like an old Western, you know. Wah, wah, wah. Like, I know that's a little bit cringe and cheesy, but like, that's the way I felt. Like, I remember the first day I was going to work, I was driving down the road and literally saw a tumbleweed sagebrush thing that was bigger than my car moving towards my car, and I was like freaking out because I didn't know what it was. And sure enough, like, I'm like, man, that looks like a tumbleweed. It is a tumbleweed. They fly across the street all the time. So it's the middle of nowhere. And to make things even more crazy, the prison is on a wildlife refuge, so there's nothing ever going to get built around it. So there's lots of wildlife there, just in the middle of nowhere. Now, to my story, two dudes in a Prius. Well, really, one dude at a time in a Prius. There's not two of us in a Prius at the same time. Sometimes there is, but the majority of the time there isn't. So, I digress. There is 24/7, 365, a mobile patrol around the prison, constantly driving around and around and around the prison fence. You always make left turns. It's always left turn, left turn, left turn, left turn. But there is one cool part at the front of the prison where the road goes from being like an NASCAR track, like this, to like has a little like curve to it. So it's kind of like a cool, like, I mean, if you get your mind right and you've been driving for a few hours and you stare just right and you squint and you kind of like have your visor down and your sunglasses off and you're looking into the sun maybe, like it's a cool little like woohoo that like goes down and around. But if you're getting bored of my description of this, that's because I'm trying to put you in the mindset of what it's like to drive mobile patrol at TRCI. It is boring because all you do is left turn, left turn, left turn. And by the way, you can't go faster than 10 miles an hour while you're driving on the track. So you're barely coasting. Maybe a little bit more than a coast. Maybe you feather the gas for, you know, a couple hundred feet and then you let off and you let it coast because you'll go like 12 miles an hour and you wouldn't want to go faster than the 10 miles an hour because you have to be able to stare at the fence and the field around to make sure nobody's breaking out of the prison or nobody's breaking into the prison or trying to throw contraband in there or whatever. So you're constantly vigilant, you're constantly patrolling, looking, and it's boring because like I said, you're in the high desert and you just keep doing that left turn, left turn, left turn. Well, I was on this post for weeks on end. And luckily, you only drive for 4 hours at a shot. But if anybody's driven for 4 hours straight, that's a long time to drive. Not only is it a long time to drive, But driving the same quarter-mile track at 10 miles an hour, left turn, left turn, left turn, it gets really boring. So you try to find things to do to keep your mind vigilant, to pay attention to things. So what I used to do when I first got into that post after about like day 2, because I was like, this sucks. And by the way, you're wearing your full gear. You're wearing, a vest. You have your guns, like all that stuff. And you're in a Prius. And I'm not a big dude, but even for me, it was freaking uncomfortable. Priuses are small, little, tiny, cramped cars. They don't have a very good armrest for you to lean and drive, so you can't do like I normally do, the gangster lean and drive. So you're pretty much sitting like this, literally driving 10 miles an hour, left turn, left turn, left turn, and it gets boring really fast. So what are some of the things I used to do to keep my mind vigilant? So what I started doing is timing myself. Timing myself at how slow I could go around the track. No, not how fast. Not if I could be Mario Andretti and break a record and win a race, but literally, if I turned on turtle mode, how long would it take me to get around the track? So I literally got out my stopwatch and I would hit start at the front of the institution and time myself all the way around. Left turn, left turn, left turn, left turn, back to the front of the institution, and I would stop, and then I would write it down, and then I would do it again. And then I started doing things like, well, maybe I'll feather the gas for the first quarter, going down the little woohoo, and see how far I can coast. See how many miles or how many seconds I can coast without having to put on the gas again. So I was doing all these things. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. After about a week, that lost its allure. But I was getting ready to do shift change one day, and I was dreading my day, like literally dreading my day. It was summertime. It was hot. It was beautiful outside. All I wanted to do was be swimming or to be at home, drinking iced tea on my back porch, barbecuing something, doing something else besides sitting in this stupid tiny little Prius. Left turn, left turn, left turn, left turn for 4 hours, and then going and staring at computer monitors for the next 4 hours, because that's what I would have done in that job. So I was so bored. I get in and I'm like trying to figure out, like situate all my stuff. I'm getting my relieving officer ready, and he is just giddy. He's happy. He's excited. And we're talking, and the background on this guy was like an old school cowboy, like Yellowstone TV show type cowboy. Very quiet, calm, cool, collected, just very wouldn't want to mess with them. I would be afraid, like he would be able to quick draw his 6-shooter and gun down any bad guys robbing any banks anywhere, like that type of dude. Talked about bull riding, talked about roping calves and branding them on his property. And so just like I love talking to this guy because he's just very cowboyish. He's like he literally worked that job to pay for his farm so he could go play, and that was his thing. And you know what? Good on him. That is awesome. But he's the type of guy that like you look at him and he's not going to take any crap from anybody, 1. And 2, in a bar fight, you could try to knock this guy out, but he could take a punch or 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6, and then he would knock you out. So very tough dude, weathered by the outdoors and the sun and the wind and the cold. Just very cool dude, but he's like giddy. He's excited. And I'm like, man, what is going on here? So we get back, we do our swap, and as we're driving back, he's like, let me tell you something. I got 23 today. And I was like, 23 what? What did you get 23 of? Like, I'm dying. Like, he's like, I got me 23 stink bugs today. Now, mind you, we're in the high desert. So, there are these nasty, I don't know if they're cockroaches, but they're just like these giant, nasty, stinky beetles that are just disgusting. And in the summertime, when it's hot, they're everywhere, and they make this annoying buzz sound. It's not quite as bad as like the South, but they're disgusting, and they're everywhere. And he's like, Yeah, I ran me over 23 of these smoked stink bugs while I was driving around. And I tracked him. I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do today. It was like the moment the light bulb went off, I'm like, man, I am going to make that my mission to beat 23 stink bugs run over in 1 4-hour period. So what did I do for the next 4 hours? I threw away my stopwatch. I threw away my tracking paper for how fast I could go, how slow I could go around the track. And I just made it my mission to run over stink bugs. And I'm happy to report to you, I don't even remember how many stink bugs I ran over, but for the majority of my time left doing mobile patrol, I would literally just try to run over any bugs that were on the road at any point in time, because that was the only thing that there was left to do. So while that was a kind of weird memory, it was still a good memory, because you know what? I was able to take something that was super boring. I was able to take something that was very mundane and monotonous, and I was able to turn it around into something in the moment while I was doing it. I can enjoy it. So for those of you who aren't in the corrections industry, this is the type of work that correctional staff have to do. This is the type of stuff that they have to do 24/7, 365. Rain, shine, sleet, hail, snow, no matter what. And they have to find things to engage their mind. You have to find things to be able to keep your mind going. Otherwise, you're going to break and it will drive you insane, because Priuses are very tiny, and doing the same thing over and over again will be the end of you. So, for those of you that like this story, please like, comment down below. If you know somebody that's in the corrections industry, thank them for their service. Thank them for their continued dedication to the career. And if you can, take some time to maybe buy them a coffee or buy them an energy drink or whatever. Take them to dinner. Do something nice for them, because they are really in a thankless industry. So thank you for your time. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Remember, take care of yourself. Take care of your mind, spirit, body, soul, and it will take care of you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.